All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our second council-wide roundtable. For those that don't know me, my name is Craig Haynes, and I'm the Assistant Council Commissioner for Roundtable. And on behalf of Team 315, we are really glad you are joining us tonight. We have a great program covering the new recruitment guidebook, which the council just put out, and it's got a lot of good information in it for all units to help do recruiting. So there's a couple things I want to mention before we get started. Number one, we are recording this program, so please mute your microphones and turn off your video cameras so that we don't catch you in the recording. Also, we'd like to take attendance, so please sign in using the chat room by typing in your name and your unit number. We hope that you'll find these roundtables helpful. Our next one will be in the fall, sometime around October 2nd, 2024, and the topic will be on rechartering. So with that, I would like to move forward and let's start with the opening. So if everybody would please join me. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America and to the republic
for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and
justice for all.
justice for all.
Two. All right. Moving on, quick safety moment tonight. There we go. I want to talk a little bit about hiking. And if most of you like to get out the doors, hiking is a great way to spend your time in the outdoors. It's also a good way to get into better shape, to become more, to be ready for more strenuous activities. Hikes can change or range from covering just a short distance to a 20-mile hike to earn the hiking merit badge. Some hikes might be on well-maintained trails that are relatively flat, and others are on rough terrain that is physically demanding. So regardless of how long or short a hike is, it's important to be prepared and be aware of your surroundings. Now, there's a lot of good information in the Scout handbooks and everything about hiking, but I wanted to just cover a couple things that I think are important with planning considerations. First, when you decide where you're going to go, make sure you've reviewed the route on a map. Make sure that the hike is within your capabilities and that you are prepared for the terrain. Don't underestimate terrain or trail difficulty. Consider elevation rises and everything that you'll be tackling. Also, don't overestimate your ability. Have realistic expectations on what you and your group can handle. And remember to always stretch and or warm up before starting the hike. Always important to wear appropriate clothing and shoes to protect your skin as well as your feet. Don't underestimate the threat of blisters. There's nothing worse than having a blister to ruin a good hike. Make sure you pack enough water and eat healthy snack foods. Keep hydrated and keep up your strength. But also remember, check for signs of heat illness, fatigue, weakness, muscle cramps, and or hypothermia, depending on the weather conditions. Check safety warnings at the trailhead or the ranger office for potential hazards, wildlife danger, trail closures, fire risk, even flood hazard areas, etc. Be sure to monitor the weather and air quality. Check before you go and watch for signs of changing weather conditions. Thunderstorm buildup, how about wildfire smoke, even flood risk with rain in the area. Overall, make sure you grab a good hiking stick or your trekking poles and bring the 10 Scout Basic Essentials, or you Cub Scouts, it's the 6 Essentials. Doing so will help you to be prepared for most situations that might arise. So keep in mind your responsibilities with the outdoor ethics and follow the principles of leave no trace. Get out there, have fun, and enjoy the adventure of hiking. That's for our safety moment. Now, I would like to go ahead and introduce tonight's Hot Rock topic, May Day for Recruitment, the new recruitment guidebook. And our presenters tonight are Pat Dannenberg, the Director of Field Services, and Levi Knight, the District Director. Please note that we'd like you to hold your questions until the end of the presentation. You can ask questions in the chat room, and they will be addressed as many as they can do. So gentlemen, I turn it over to you. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, thanks, Craig. Appreciate you kicking this off tonight. Appreciate you helping us have another awesome council-wide roundtable. And tonight, really, Levi and I are planning to discuss this recruitment guidebook. And much like you said, you know, it's important for everybody to make sure your video is turned off and make sure you're muted for the night. So we'll take questions here at the end. So we have this wonderful recruitment guidebook. There's copies that each district executive across the council has. And with those recruitment guidebooks, you have the opportunity to take that guidebook. It's a tool for you to sit down and look at for creating a recruitment plan, consider your calendar throughout the year, and then also consider your yearly planning and be able to come together and devise a good plan for recruiting and create a membership plan. So this booklet helps go through that and helps you answer much of those questions in preparing. So when you get started with this, just know inside the recruitment guidebook, you know, there's a few things. There's some goals that you can set with it. There's also the recruitment checkpoint. There's the 12-point plan. There's also an option to opt in for Hooked on Scouting. But you can take this entire document, and these pages and everything are all available at montanabsa.org/resources, available for you to download. And you'll see some other stuff in here where the individual pages out of this document are available for download also. So
The first step on our journey with this new recruitment guidebook is to make sure that we are prepared. I've heard somewhere that it is important to be prepared. So we're going to make sure we do that. We want to make sure that we understand where our fees are at. Registration for a new youth is $137 per year. This includes all the fees, and there's no longer a $25 new member join fee. Now in our council, we waived that fee already, but National has done away with that. Okay. New and returning adults on recharters are $85. Again, that includes all of our fees. Okay, it's all inclusive. The unit fee is $100. Scout Life Magazine, which is optional, is $15. And then you want to determine if you want to do online versus paper applications. Okay. Now, we made a move last year to push toward this online application system for a council of our geography and our size, distance-wise, relying on mail or a daisy chain of trying to get paper turned in. We have had a lot of issues with paper applications. And so hopefully, I know for my experience, online applications was a lot easier process for my districts. And hopefully you found that as well. But we will still process paper applications if you would like to do that. It's just really what your preference is for your unit.
Levi, just to remind everybody that national fees did go up by $5, but since National dropped the $25 fee, our council was waiving that $25 fee for everyone. And instead of raising the price for everyone with that $5 increase that National did, we chose as a council to waive that $5 increase. We'll revisit that come next fall, and we'll make sure that we have a statement out on where that goes by October 1st of next fall. So
correct. And then one other note on online versus paper. There's also, we'll say, a digital application. So a lot of cases we'll use like a fillable PDF. We will refer to that as a paper application or a physical application, even though it's electronic, because it is not using the online registration system.
now this recruitment guidebook has a couple of different components in it. In the first couple of opening pages in the document, you'll see that there's the membership plans in here. This one is for the PAC, and you'll see there's all sorts of information on here to fill out. When is the Meet the Teacher for the school? What recruiting opportunities do you have? What community events may exist out there? It asks for you to really give 3 targeted school possibilities, create different recruitment nights, and track all of that information. Where is it going to happen and so forth? All of these details are important. And then it also asks for who is going to act as your new member coordinator? Who's that point of contact? So this membership plan is really important, but as also on the right-hand side of it, it asks for you to sit down and identify how many kids per den age level do you have. And then it turns around and asks for you to set goals for how many kids you really want to try to recruit. These goals all on this page help you really to target more as you recruit kids inside schools and inside your communities. It helps you be able to say, all right, one particular den we may need to pay more attention to and recruit with. Now, similarly, as last year, we had the 12-point plan. On the back side of this page, you'll see here's the 12-point plan. You still identify these 12 points. And you identify also who's going to be responsible for it and when do you want to try to achieve that by. There's a little note section on here for you to take notes in regards to your recruiting efforts. But when you look at these 12 points, go through, identify them, and then help make sure that they're getting implemented. The overall goal with the 12-point plan is to turn around and say, all right, if your unit was doing 1, 2, 3, 4 methods last year on marketing for recruiting kids into your pack or troop or crew or post, then if you're just doing those 3 or 4 methods, what happens if we ask you to bump that up to doing 12? Do you start to all of a sudden see more results? Well, maybe you do, but maybe also because you had to reach out and do more things in the community, that you also create opportunities for people to see and consider joining not just your pack, but maybe other local scout units too. Now, you'll also see that in here, there is a membership plan for exploring posts, ships, crews, and Scouts BSA troops. So this is same philosophy. Go in, create your goals for how many kids you're trying to recruit, target schools. Yes, we're actually asking Scout troops and also crews and posts, go consider recruiting inside the schools. Go consider recruiting in the community. We want every Scout unit to set goals this year and go recruit. Don't just sit on the wayside waiting for that Weeblo's Den to come into your Scouts BSA troop. Much to the same though that the Cub Scouts have, here's also a 12-point promotional plan. We heard you last year. Some people asked for something a little bit more different for the troops out there. And here it is applicable for troops, crews, and posts. And so make sure that you take the time to identify those 12 points and then make sure you designate who is responsible for it and when are you going to try to achieve
that. There's a couple of helpful resources here in regards to calendaring. Something that's really helpful when it comes to recruiting is having a plan. If you have a plan for your unit, then people will be more attracted to joining your unit. So don't look at this as a be-all end-all guide, but just a helpful template to plan a calendar. And we have these here for the pack, and we have them for the troop. Just a helpful guide to sort of have areas of focus for each month, different activities, ideas for activities you can do throughout the year. And again, there's one for the pack and one for the troop.
And every Scout unit should be sitting down between now and before the start of next school year and making sure you have a yearly planning meeting. That yearly planning meeting helps you identify your entire year of scouting. Go ahead and get figured out where you're going to summer camp the fall year. Go ahead and get figured out when you're having all your pack meetings. Get these things figured out, put them on your calendar, but don't forget to also include your recruitment plan and those dates on your calendar too. In here also, you'll notice that there is a calendar for packs and then also one for Scouts BSA troops.
All right, again, when we talk about preparing the online tools, it is very important that we are sharing the most correct and important and up-to-date information about our units. Okay, this means updating the unit pin, making sure that our websites, if we have them, our Facebook pages, all that information is up to date, making sure that the correct people have access to the invitation manager and the application manager. Okay, this is all done through my.scouting, through the organization manager and under the unit pin. Okay, so check your permissions, There are a plethora of training videos and how-to documents on scouting.org that you can go through. Again, make sure your contact information and everything, all the information is correct on Be a Scout. That's where we're going to push people, especially if we're using the online application. That's where people are going to go. They're going to go to your unit pin. They're going to apply through that. Okay. And then share it. So every unit has a council created short URL. Okay. It's montanabasa.org/pack or troop, and then your 4-digit unit number. Okay. Here in Black Otter District and in Shortgrass District, what I would do is when I had recruiting events, I would print out a one sheet that would have the short URL on it, and then it would also have a QR code. Every unit has a QR code that you can scan that will take you directly to the online application. Okay, when we had the new member joining fee, we had a discount code when we were waiving that fee. I also put that discount code MTNew on that one sheet, so that every recruitment there were 20, 25 sheets of paper out there that a parent could scan, or they could put in the code or the URL if they didn't want to scan the QR code. They had the discount code right there at hand, and it made that registration process go a lot smoother. Okay. Again, frequently asked question documents, videos can be found on sky.org. Scan the QR code, contact your district executive. We can help you make sure all this is updated as we begin to roll out all these recruiting materials.
And Levi, I realize some people can't remember how to do my.scouting and change things or how to find things, but right here is that QR code, right? And that leads you right over to a page that has videos everywhere on it for different parts of my.scouting on how to make changes and update your PIN and so forth. So helpful QR code and a good place to remember where to find it. So really and truly, to me, one of the passionate things I have about scouting is making sure that we tell a parent when they come to a scout meeting that we're glad for them to be there, that we introduce ourselves, that we are happy that that they can look at joining our scout unit. And really and truly, there's 3 pillars for a new member coordinator, and every scout unit should consider having a new member coordinator. This is your greeter, and really they share the benefits of scouting. They help coordinate recruiting efforts, and they also are the guide to joining and welcoming process for youth and their families in your scout unit. This person is a pivotal person inside your scout unit to help make sure people come in and have a great start to scouting.
So we want to make sure that we prepare a recruitment timeline. Something that I like to talk about is there's a difference between a recruitment event and a marketing event. So a lot of us are going to attend community events. We're going to go out and set up a booth and just sort of be out there and be visible in the community. That in of itself is not a recruitment event. When we talk about a recruitment event, we're talking about an event that is designed specifically for people who are going to come and they're going to complete the process to sign up and become members of the Boy Scouts of America. All right. So when we talk about the recruitment timeline, we're talking about setting up recruitment events. Okay. So we have a timeline to do this. So starting out 6 weeks before the event, all the things that you should do, all the way up to after the event, turning in paperwork, turning in sign-in rosters, communicating with your district executive, approving online applications if you use the online application process. It's very important that we follow the steps here. The more steps we follow during the timeline and in backdating, the more chances of success that we're going to have with our recruiting events.
So really, taking the time to promote scouting has a long-lasting impact. There are 4 most effective methods to recruit. And really, if you deviate from these 4 most effective methods, you start to have to look at working even harder to recruit. But those 4 most effective methods are flyers, yard signs, scout talks, and social media. You do those 4 and you will have a great scouting event. Now, separate from that though, you still have peer-to-peer recruiting where the kids or parents can go out and recruit their own friends to come in and join. And then you also have the ability to go to open houses and meet the teacher nights. those where you do a booth there, it's a great opportunity. Bring a friend to activities and then participate in activities with your charter partner like Scout Sunday or a service project. And then also take the time to adopt a school. But, other things like a fall recruitment event where you go out into the community and do something, or you just have a fall carnival at the school. All those things are great opportunities for you to be at and participate in promoting, and as part of that 12-point plan.
When I talked about marketing events, this is what I talked about: promotion in the community. There's all kinds of activities that we can do, social media, setting up tables or booths at farmers markets or other community events, festivals, parades. Talking about events that are going to get us out in front of people and just have us make contacts with them, not necessarily for them to sign up. Now, we might get some people that are going to sign just off of that singular encounter with us out at that community event. But in reality, this is just all marketing. It's just about getting out there, spreading the good news of scouting and being visible in the community. So think about some sort of event in your community that happens that you think it would be a good idea to have scouting there. Or if you're having an event, a service project, Pinewood Derby, something of the sort, think about contacts a local newspaper or news channel that you can invite to see that, right? Anything that's really going to publicize scouting.
Now, if you have a chance to do an informational booth, these could be at different events in the community, like a farmer's market or a fireworks show, or they could be at a parade even, or they could be at the school meet the teacher night. Putting together a table, making a presence known so that you're big and seen, making sure that you have information packets, everything that you could possibly have, where this is the contacts for our unit, here's some of our calendar, here's the type of things that we do. All those things, have them at a table ready to hand out. It's so important that people come to those tables too, and that you make sure you take names, get their contact info so that you can reach back out. Don't forget to also ask about their address, because if somebody's living on the complete other side of town and you're in a bigger town like Bozeman, you could be actually going from Belgrade to Bozeman, which is then turning around and you're going between two different scout units. Is that okay? Sure. But at the same time frame, somebody may want to stay local. And so asking for somebody's address is the right thing to do to help identify best where they may fit in for scouting. Don't be afraid to hand out things and give people things. Also, don't be afraid to include an activity and have something where that's going to attract somebody to come by and say hi to you, whether it's a rocket launch activity where it's doing just a simple craft, or it's doing something where somebody's throwing something, right? So fun things at a booth are always a great activity, and then promoting your unit is absolutely necessary.
Couple of points on this. It's important that if we're setting up a booth, that our scouts and the leaders there have high energy. They're willing to engage people, making eye contact, looking out for people, being friendly. We want to make sure that we're putting the best foot forward for our brand, for scouting, and being welcoming and inviting. The other point, your district executive, your local office has a lot of resources available to make your info booth successful. We can print flyers, we can print stickers, we can print wristbands, we have pop-ups, we have tables, we have table covers, we have all kinds of giveaways. So don't hesitate to reach out to your local office or your district executive to get access to those resources. Talking more about resources. We have, if you can dream it, we can do it. Let's put it that way, right? Not just flyers. We'll make posters, wristbands, yard signs. We can do stickers. Theoretically, we can do temporary tattoos. Obviously, we talked about recruitment booths. We can do any sort of custom materials you can think of. We have our own promotional videos on our YouTube channel, and then National has promotional videos that we can use, okay? Something I'd like to think about as well is geofencing. I've noticed in the recruitment events that I've done as district executive, when I add this geofencing aspect to them, they are far more successful. It is a very low cost, low effort marketing touch that we can get that gets more people in the door. If you don't know what geofencing is, essentially we set up a Facebook ad, which uses the GPS of people that come into a geographic area that we've set to market, and pings them with our ads. So for example, my kids go to Meadowlark School. If we do a sign up night at Meadowlark School, it sets up anyone that comes in that's within the age range that we want that has kids, and they provide that information to Facebook. It will ping them and say, hey, are you interested in scouting? There's a sign up night on this day at this time. Geofencing, it's not a silver bullet, nothing is, but it's one of the easiest, most effective things that we can do. And not just geofence a sign up night, you can geofence a pack activity, you can geofence when you're going to have a booth at an event. Again, it's low cost marketing dollars, and it's a very effective tool that we have in addition to all these other things.
And Levi, that recruitment plan on those pages that they put together, that has that recruitment date, and that date in conversation with your district executive, they get that turned in to our marketing committee, and those guys pay for the ad. So the scout unit doesn't have to pay for that ad. Our council pays for that ad.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, you don't have to pay for it. We'll pay for it. We have marketing dollars.
You know, really and truly, holding the recruitment activity, the event is so important. You have to have that set alone date. It's by itself, and it's identified by itself. Don't double down and do a PAC meeting at the same time. Don't do a troop meeting if you know that same time. You know, set a goal to have it as a standalone activity, and make sure that that you give it the time it needs. You need to pick, though, which way are you going to do this? Are you going to do something called the RIP method, which is similar where you stand up in front of everyone and talk, or are you going to do a table method where people bounce back and forth between tables and eventually meet everybody in the unit and have a smoother flowing process? Really, though, if you do the RIP method, especially as a Cub Scout pack, it takes 2 or 3 meetings before somebody even is ready to go in a Cub Scout pack. However, that table method, once you do that table method, you're going to have that opening night where you do the tables, and then you're going to have one more onboarding meeting after that. So that table method requires more people to do it. But in the process of things, you get a person faster into scouting with that method. And so I really implore people to consider doing a table method and moving towards that direction. Now you can do hybrids and so forth of it, but it's really important for you to give good consideration to that. So make sure that in both of these methods, of course, you're going to need to make sure you have applications and everything to review for that. You'll need to make sure that you look good and you're organized for the new families. And then those new families need to walk away with a calendar, and they need to know when their next meeting is, and they need to have contact info for unit leadership. So absolutely critical. Cool. Those 3 things are right there on the bottom of the page for most critical for any recruitment event. So.
We're going to dive in a little bit more and talk in detail about the 2 methods here. The table method. This is essentially just having stations at a recruitment. The first table is a sign-in table. The second station is easy requirements. Now with the Cub Scout program, the Bobcat is changing, but it's just easy entry-level requirements for them to do for a Scouts BSA recruitment. It's Scout requirements. Again, easy entry-level requirements. Table 3 is meeting the leaders, den leaders, Scout masters, assistant Scout masters, a friendly face they can connect with. They can identify. This, again, as Pat mentioned, helps with the onboarding process, right? It's not just one face, it's connecting and relaying with multiple people. Table 4 is registration. This is where I talked about the 1-sheets to put out. We have QR codes, might even have computers or tablets available for people to use to sign up. We share the link, we share all the resources they need to complete the registration process. People come to a recruitment event to sign up. The same way
they came to sign up?
They come to sign up. The same way they come to soccer sign up, or football sign up, or gymnastics sign up to sign up. They come to a scout recruitment night to sign up. We need to facilitate them signing up. That's the purpose of a registration table. And then finally, table 5, have a craft or an activity. This is really for them to have a first good experience with scouting. This past year, we gave out the wooden pocket knives. That was a really easy first craft for them to do. Just a good positive first experience for them to have and have a good impression of scouting. We'll talk about now my personal favorite. Pat doesn't like when I say that. The RIP method or the talk method. I've gotten, if you know me, this won't surprise you. I'm very good at this. I like to talk in front of people. The RIP stands for the Why Scouts, reviewing materials, inviting a friend, and paperwork. The downfall of this, as Pat mentioned, it takes a little bit longer to onboard because parents that are coming in to sign up are really seeing one person who's communicating the entire message. Okay. The upside to this is if you have a person that's really good at communicating the message, that's good at the sales aspect of it, and that can convince people to sign up and complete the sign up process, then you're going to have a pretty good recruitment and you're going to sign up a lot of scouts. Okay. This works where there's maybe starting a new unit or where there's not a lot of adult volunteers that currently are there, maybe restarting a unit or reviving a unit that's struggling, right? It doesn't work for everyone. We really want to focus on the table method because it's going to help us onboard faster, retain more scouts. If we're doing the talk method, it's not easy for everyone to do. It takes practice. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. That's why I'm pretty good at it. I know Pat's very good at it. I know some of our district executives are very good at it. It's not the preferred method, but in a pinch, it will work.
Yeah. You know, to me, one of the important things about running a recruitment event is what do you do after that? And, you know, so often our scout units drop the ball and we don't really pay enough attention to those that came and tried to join. Even if somebody didn't fill out the application that night, it's not hope is all lost with that person, right? We have to continue to follow up with people. We have to make sure that they feel welcome. We have to make sure we have an onboarding meeting where we start to introduce them to our scout unit. And really the follow-up is so critical. And being able to sit down and say, hey guys, you didn't join, but next week you're still invited. Hey guys, next week we're doing these things. Look forward to seeing you there. Sometimes we wait. I've seen scout units wait until the following week, the day before they have the next recruit or the next meeting. And why wait till then? The next day when you're awake after the recruitment event, sometime that day, the day after, go in and make sure you send out an email and just thanking people for coming, giving them the paper information that you handed out that night too in a digital format, get it all to them. And those sign-in sheets that people filled in and signed in on, take a picture of that. The Scout office would like to have a copy so that we can help make sure that those individuals that didn't sign up, we'd like to market to them so that you continue to have a chance for them to join scouting. So your recruitment sign-in sheets, take a picture of them or scan them and make sure to email them to membership@montanabsa.org. I'll say that again. Make sure to send them in to membership@montanabsa.org.
When we talk about the onboarding meeting agenda, we have made it very easy. We even have the agenda here for you for that onboarding meeting. This is a chance for you to recruit your unit's future leaders. This is a critical meeting to have. We sometimes call it a parents meeting. It's the same meeting, just different name, right? The setup here, the start of the meeting, parent involvement, discussing parent involvement. I think sometimes we're afraid to talk about parent involvement. We need to tell people what they're getting into with scouting. People want to be involved with their kids. That's why they're coming, right? We can have that conversation. So here's the agenda, run through it. It's an hour-long meeting. I'm happy to run this meeting. And we have DIN organization sheets that we can use. Again, we have resources to help run this. But it's important that we have this meeting and that we set it up shortly after our recruitment sign-up night.
Yeah, and we asked the units in the membership plan to identify this night. So that it's that important.
And we talk about engaging, connecting, and being inviting to adults. This is critical information. This what we're talking about right here might be the best part of this new recruitment guidebook. I know that many of your units are struggling with getting more adults. So here are some best practices. Getting simple areas where you need help. Not everyone needs to be registered leaders, but if you get someone to step up, then they'll grow into a role where they can take on more responsibility. Identify the needs that you have. Identify parents that have different talents that you might need or might be interested in different things. Meet with people in person. Invite them to be a leader. A direct ask. Explain what the requirements are, what YPT requirements are, what training requirements are. Again, make targeted asks and just ask. I've had multiple circumstances in my career where I've had unit leaders say, we don't have any help. No one's helping us. We're moving on. Our child is crossing over. We're going on the next step. Nobody's going to step up in the unit. And I've just gone to a parents meeting and all I've done is ask for help. And I've had multiple people step up to help. So sometimes we're not getting help because we don't ask. Some things to steer clear of here too is what we would call the shotgun method, doing sort of a blanket ask, right? I'm stepping down. I need someone to help in front of a parents meeting. That's not going to work. Don't put something out in the website or Facebook or the newsletter or on the flyer that you're looking for parents. Again, a targeted ask following these best practices. We're going to have good success in recruiting adult leaders. And I know that your district executive is prepared and trained to help with this process through the organizational rosters and helping run these onboarding meetings.
Now, Levi, I know I've gone into a meeting before. I had to do the RIP method, and I sat there and I got all the kids excited about joining Cub Scouts. I told them they're going to do bows and arrows and BB guns and learn how to use a pocket knife and make cool Pinewood Derby race cars. And I got them all excited. And then I told them, hey guys, none of you are going to be able to do this if your parents don't step up and help out as a volunteer. So I put the parents in a pickle, right? You know? I mean, if Levi, you and I have both heard it. Oh, I sent an email out. Oh, what did you send the email out on? Well, I was asking for all these different positions to be filled, and I was missing a treasurer, an advancement person. I was missing somebody to greet people, and I was missing a new Cub master. And you put that all in an email and sent it out? I sure did. Okay, well, did you get anybody respond? No, I didn't. Have you ever heard of somebody actually getting recruited through an email like that?
No.
I've never heard of it. I've heard unit after unit asked that way. It just doesn't work. But here's what I will tell you. Year after year, myself personally, I was able to recruit parents to help out in the units that I personally had my kids in. And I was able to get those parents to help out because I took one approach where I first wanted to be their friend. I have lifelong friends from scouting, from the parents that had similar age kids as mine. They're lifelong friends. They're all over this country that we live in. And it's because I treated them as friends first. And because we were friends first, they were willing to step up and help me where I could help them and us be together. And I always, all year round, made sure that I was constantly looking for help. And I always had a rule. I want to have fun. And when I got to be in part of a Scouts BSA troop, I had a new rule. Every time we went on a camp out, which was every month, and made sure we had a calendar and we went every month. Like every single time I had a rule. I will have fun as an adult, and I will make sure that I eat good, because us adults love to eat good. So it was just a simple rule. I took care of the other adults, and they took care of me. So and we celebrated our victories often. As parents, we got together separate away from the kids, and we celebrated. But here's the thing that I think most people forget the most, and it's sharing the expectations. Start small, leads to more, but if you expect to have somebody help do something, they need to understand what they're being expected of. If you don't share that expectation and they don't meet your expectation, then guess what? Well, they didn't fail. We just failed to communicate it. The other thing too, that I always think that's important with this and recruiting adults is, for us, we have to make the time to identify and start with all those small things. So what I encourage every scout unit to do is take the time, and at least once a year, we recruit all the time for our kids. But you need to take the time and make sure you have a recruitment event for adults. The kids are going to be there. I mean, maybe you don't do the kids there, but have an activity. Set up that activity so that you have a purposeful time where you're recruiting adults. Great example. Sometimes we call them chariot races. Sometimes we call them a cardboard derby race. There's lots of different names for it, but let's say you have a cardboard derby race. And this is a big activity for our Cub Scout packs. And you create a cardboard box. Every Cub Scout creates a cardboard box, and some of them look like a TIE fighter, some look like a Porsche, some look like a Mack truck or an F1 racer. Whatever it is, they take this box and it looks like that. They put it over their shoulders, and it sits with a strap from the front of the box to the back of the box, and the strap sits on top of their shoulders, and the kid's ready to run in it, and the hands are free so they can have fun, right? And you take them to a big room where you put an oval in the middle of a big room, or you go to a parking lot and there's a big oval, and all around that oval is different stations. And at each of the stations, you have different activities. So you may run up to one station, and that station maybe change your tires. And so the kid takes their shoes off, and they put the shoes back on the wrong feet, and they do a couple of laps around, and they go back to that station again and change the tires back out again and put the shoes on the right feet. And then they run to the next station, and at the next station, they get their windshield washed. And they put these mad scientist goggles on, and somebody sprays them on both sides with a little water, and somebody comes back over after that and wipes it off, and they're off to the races to the next station. You get the idea. There's stations all around with different activities, but it's how we get to that station and those stations being done that creates an opportunity possibly where we can recruit adults. In your pack, take the opportunity and tell the den leaders that each den is going to be responsible for that station, but do not let the den leaders run the station. Tell the den leaders you're not allowed to run it. You're not allowed to bring anything for it. You can't do anything at the race at all for it. Recruit people from your den to take care of it, because I have an activity for you separate that's not going to let you stand at your station. We're going to meet over in the corner of the room as the kids are running the race. Don't worry, we'll still watch the race, but we're going to meet over in the corner of the room. And as you get to that night and you're in the corner of the room, after the race has started and it's up and running, you got those little hitches out the way. You take those den leaders and all the other pack leaders, you're standing in the corner of the room, and you look back out across the room and you say, leaders, what do we say? What do we see? And you could have one station where somebody's being really vocal and they're encouraging the kids really well, and you can hear them from the other side of the room. And you have another station where it's really organized and it's well put together, decorations everywhere. That one person that's really vocal may be your next assistant cub master. That one person that really organized their station and decorated it well, maybe your next blue and gold banquet chair. You work to identify those people. You figure out who knows that person best in that den, because it's probably that den leader that helped ask them to participate. And the pack leadership working with that den leader can go over and start to have a conversation some other time with them. And you can do that over pizza and beer. You can do that at somebody's house over barbecue. You can do that over breakfast. You can do that just over coffee. But go do it where you get together and just ask them to do little things here or there. Hey, at the next pack meeting, do you mind coming up to the front of the room and being up there and help lead me in a chair? Hey, at the next pack meeting, do you mind making sure that you take care of the trees? Start small and go big. And number one thing that we think that we struggle with in leadership for our units is we expect that other person to start out sometimes at the same level as what we've been doing. That's a recipe for disaster. We have to be okay with coaching that person, and we have to be okay with knowing that person may not do it to the same level that I may have done it. But if I'm there with them, I can help them through it. We have to be okay with allowing somebody to progress towards greatness, knowing that they may not start out great, but they're there and they're willing to help. Now, really and truly, there's a couple more important things. Look, you need to strive for every leader in your unit to be 100% trained. We talked about the organized meeting, and really on the front end, we have to set the expectations. If we want our kids to have a good program, why would we not set the expectation for having 100% of our leaders trained? I want a good program for my kids. Why would we accept a subpar program, which really is what we're setting the bar for if we're not striving for 100% train? We have to make sure that we communicate the plan. We have to be able to share that and promote it. We have to make sure that we have the time and we take the time to make a yearly planning meeting. Do it over barbecue over at somebody's house. Go to the pizza parlor and everybody have beer. Go out and have fun doing something as an activity, and then set time up at the end to get together for the yearly planning. A yearly calendar, a membership plan, the 12-point plan. Those are all critical things that everybody needs to do. And you need to make sure you have those critical campouts and those critical meetings all on your calendar figured out. And you need to do it at the beginning of the school year. Don't wait. Why wait? Why sell yourself short as a unit?
As Pat mentioned, it's critical that all of our leaders are trained. That's going to help us deliver a good program and help us retain the scouts that we do recruit. So all adult leaders must take YPT, and then we want them all to take leader-specific training, their position-specific training. So scan the QR codes. This resource is in the recruiting guidebook, sky.org/training, where you can start introducing leadership positions on the QR code and then the training requirements for each position. Again, we want all of our leaders to be fully trained leaders. That's how we will be able to provide the most robust and engaging program for our youth and retain them in the program.
To help you guys out, this year we've got a theme. That theme for recruiting is hooked on scouting. And we encourage you to adapt this theme inside your scout unit. Go hog wild with it and choose whatever you want out there. Create your own fishing opportunities, but we're asking every district to go out and create fishing activity events next fall for your kids to participate that you recruit into scouting. And so be aware this is happening. We want to make sure that that every scout unit can participate in this. So get with your district executive and meet with them and talk to them about Hooked on Scouting. Now,
That's Pat Dannenberg.
that's Levi Knight.
If you scan the QR code, that'll take you to montanabsa.org, where you can find this recruitment guidebook under resources. A link was also sent out through the email. This is the guidebook. There was a question, do district executives have this? Yes, they do. Katrina, we just have not had a roundtable since we've had the physical booklets in hand. So I will have them next week for our roundtable. But
Loved being here tonight, sharing this, Levi. These went out to every district executive. The intent on why it went to the district executive, and it's not just freely available at the Scout office, is because the goal is to go through the contents of this. And by the time you go through everything, all the pages, whether you read the entirety of the page or not, but go through each page, it helps lead the discussion on your entire year of recruiting and program planning, and it helps you with that. So critical key tool for us to help make sure we have a great scout unit. So anything else, Levi?
there's a couple questions.
Yeah, let's hit some questions. Let's stop sharing here.
Carl Covey interested about the council providing stickers and tattoos for Cub Scout recruitment. So the tattoos we do not have yet, but we'll figure that one out. But every district executive does have the ability to produce multiple types of stickers, and we have multiple types of stickers available. So that is a resource that you just need to contact your district executive to do that.
And Levi, my favorite though, over the sticker is the Tyvek wristband that we can print on and make it custom. You can put the same info that a sticker has, you can print on that Tyvek. It's just the sticker, for whatever reason, the janitor gets upset because the sticker ends up all over, the playground, or it ends up on the playground, or it ends up in the urinal or whatnot. So the Tyveks are much easier to keep separate and on and so forth through the day.
Sure.
What other questions?
No, I don't see any other questions.
Oh,
Does anyone else have any other questions? This is quite quiet group tonight.
all right. Any other questions? Otherwise, we may be ending just a few minutes early, Craig.
Pretty quiet.
That's a quiet night. Yeah. So really and truly, I encourage everybody to just take the time, go out and see what your district executive has, meet with your district executive. Between your district executive and your scout unit, the two of you, and even off the opportunity, we've been talking to commissioners also about getting together and taking this book and having discussions with every scout unit. And so just really a critical key point to help you guys. I thought it was important that we take all this information and dump it in one book and resource. And it's a living utensil, and so it may change and morph into something even grander by next year, but hopefully it's a good tool for everybody. So last opportunity for a question. So anybody else with any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to call it a night.
Sounds good.
You're welcome,
Thanks everybody
Hillary.
for participating. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you at the beginning of October with the next council-wide roundtable, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
You guys have a great night.